This upcoming NFL season, Josh Allen will be entering his 6th season in the NFL. And thus far, throughout his first 5 seasons in the NFL, Josh Allen has had a great career, putting up big numbers, making great plays, and making the playoffs the last 4 years. But there's been some questions about Josh Allen and the Bills, mainly being, can they make it to and win the Super Bowl? And those questions mainly started after Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City knocked the Bills and Josh Allen out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. But now, after the AFC has gotten significantly stronger and the Bills had their embarrassing home playoff loss against Cincinnati last year, I feel like their chances of making it to and winning the Super Bowl have decreased a lot. And even though the Bills had a dominant season last year, going 13-3 and winning the playoff game, I still feel like their team's problems were on full display, and I really don't see this team repeating a record like that this upcoming season. Looking back at the Bills' 2022 season, I kind of feel like their schedule is relatively easy, and that in 2023 their schedule is going to be a whole lot harder. Starting out by looking at their divisional games, the AFC East is pretty strong. The Jets, Patriots, Dolphins, but all 3 of those teams suffered quarterback problems. The Patriots were bouncing between 2 quarterbacks and Mac Jones wasn't doing the best. The Jets, of course, had Zach Wilson struggling. And Miami had the Tua injury, but now, coming into next season, Tua will be healthy and the Jets now have Aaron Rodgers, and hopefully the Patriots have solved their quarterback issue. They say they have, but we'll see. And the Bills split their games with the Jets and Dolphins. So with non-divisional games, their only tough games were the Chiefs and Baltimore early on, which they won both of them, which is great. But then their Cincinnati game ended up getting canceled. I'm not saying 13-3 was bad. It's obviously really good. And I'm not saying the Bills were a fluke either. I'm just saying their 13-3 wasn't extremely impressive. And the last thing I want to mention before I start breaking down some film is that in 2021, Josh Allen had the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. And last season, the Bills had the 4th best defense in the NFL. Obviously, that's not the only reason for the Bills' success, but you look at players around the league, like let's say Aaron Rodgers, the only time he ever won a Super Bowl was with a top 5 defense. However, Patrick Mahomes did have a 13-second comeback against the Bills in the AFC Championship when Josh Allen and the Bills played flawlessly, so I guess none of this really means anything. The first problem Josh Allen had last season was turnovers. He had 14 interceptions during the regular season, 13 fumbles, and then another 3 interceptions in the playoffs. His 14 interceptions during the regular season was tied for the second most in the NFL with Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr, and was only behind Dak Prescott and Davis Mills. But starting out with this one against the Lions, I can't really even figure out what he was trying to do here. And it's a shame that Allen and Diggs had to clutch up in the final seconds of this game to ruin my Thanksgiving. And then against the Jets, Allen had 2 really bad interceptions. It's play action, and Allen's rolling out to his right and throws it just right to the defender. And these 2 interceptions in this game were probably the biggest reason why the Bills ended up losing. And then later in this game, Allen drops back and finds a wide open Sauce Gardner. This was a pretty easy interception for Gardner. He just read Allen's eyes and the ball came right to him as Davis broke to the outside. And if these throws continue next season, it's going to be a real struggle for the Bills. The next thing I felt like Allen struggled with was playing hero ball. I felt like in the playoffs, he took a lot of deep shots that just were inaccurate and ended up losing possession for the Bills. Ken Dorsey was a new offensive coordinator for the Bills last season. He used to be Josh Allen's quarterback coach, and his play calling is a bit more aggressive, so maybe it's not Josh Allen's fault. And Josh Allen playing this hero ball type of game where he's taking deep shot after deep shot, it's probably not the issue. The issue seemed to be more Josh Allen's accuracy when taking these deep shots. He would miss wide open targets multiple times in the playoffs. Here, the Bills are going to send Quentin Morris in motion, and Allen knows that the defense is in a cover 1 with 1 free safety and 3 players in the box. It's going to be man coverage on the 2 wide receivers and tight end, while the 2 linebackers break out into a zone coverage. Stefon Diggs is running a go route, and Allen knows there's a good chance that he's going to be able to have a one-on-one shot with Diggs deep down the field. This is because it's play action, hopefully holding up the safety and linebackers for a second before they break out into their zone coverage. And Gabe Davis and Knox are going to be running deeper routes, and hopefully the 1 free safety bites to that side of the field. The ball is snapped, Allen play action, drops back, everything works according to plan, takes a deep shot to a wide open Stefon Diggs, and it's overthrown. Then later in this game, Allen was picked off twice. The first one here, if you watch Brown at the top of your screen, neither of them are Allen's fault. Brown stops running for a second and Howard makes a great over-the-shoulder interception. And then later in the game, it's a throw to Beasley and it bounces off his hands and it's easily intercepted. And that's something else that's interesting about this Bills team, is that their wide receivers have a pretty high drop rate, especially Gabe Davis, who's still a great wide receiver, but I believe he only has a 51% catch rate. So is it Davis's fault for not catching the balls, or are they just poorly placed? Then moving on to the divisional round against the Bengals, it's a cover one defense, and Diggs here is going to be sent in motion, and then it's going to be another go route, and he's going to split the gap of the zone defense. Here's Diggs in motion. His defender sticks with him in the motion. The ball is snapped. Allen drops back. Diggs hesitates, starts booking it, loses his man, is wide open, and the ball is overthrown. And obviously Diggs is frustrated because he was wide open. He might have scored that. And Allen was pressured a little bit in the pocket, but I don't think the pressure was that bad. And I think he needs to make that throw. But the Bengals do have a really strong defense, and in this game, there was a lot of moments where Allen didn't have a chance to make that throw, as the Bills' offensive line isn't the strongest. Here's another instance where I believe Allen overthrew an open wide receiver. Gabe Davis here is going to be on another go route. It's one-on-one man coverage, and Davis loses his defender pretty early on, but it seems like he has to hold up a little bit to come back to the throw, and it's incomplete. Now, this ball does kind of go through Davis's hands. Gabe Davis should have caught this ball, but with Allen's inaccuracy and Gabe Davis not being the most reliable wide receiver and Beasley not being the most reliable wide receiver, Stefon Diggs is really the only guy that Allen can trust. Moving on to later in the game, there's about 7 minutes left. The Bills are down by 17. It's 4th down. They need to get a first down or a touchdown. Allen's alone in the backfield. And here, Diggs feels like he was open and Allen doesn't get him the ball. Towards the end of his route, Diggs does get a little separation. I wouldn't say he's wide open, but he's definitely open. Allen is bouncing around in the pocket though. I feel like he started bouncing around a little bit too early when the pressure wasn't really there, and he might have taken his eyes down. Once Allen was pressured a little bit, which was pretty instant, he didn't look Diggs' direction at all, and that's when Diggs was open, so it was just kind of unlucky. And at the end of the game, there's like a minute left, down by 17. Allen takes a deep shot and it's intercepted. He didn't have to go end zone. He didn't have to go that deep down the field, but it didn't really matter. The game's over anyway. To wrap it up, I feel like Josh Allen plays a little bit of hero ball sometimes, is a bit inaccurate, and we saw some random slumps through him throughout the season. He threw a lot of picks, and he does usually throw a lot of interceptions. This isn't like a new thing, but some of them were just really bad, and it just had me questioning what's going on. And the big question, can the Bills ever win a Super Bowl, and can they make it to the Super Bowl with Josh Allen? And it just doesn't seem very likely with how tough their division's going to be, with Aaron Rodgers and Tua and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow running the AFC. Can the Bills have a top 5 defense for a 3rd straight year? Can the Bills' offensive line improve, or are they going to continue to struggle and Allen's going to have to continue to scramble out of the pocket and make plays on his own? I just don't see the Bills being a super dominant team heading into 2023. They'll definitely be up there, but I'm looking more at a record of 10-7, maybe even 9-8, but more probably 10-7 or 11-6. Let me know what you think in the comments. I always enjoy reading everyone's input, and that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, and once again, as always, thanks for watching.